We're heading over to Patsy's restaurant. Come on. Hey, Sal, good to see you, buddy.
My friend, how's everything?
Incredible. We head inside or what?
We're going to call the secret Frank Sinatra entrance.
Seriously?
Yes, come on. This is the way the chairman of the board used to come to Patsy's restaurant.
So tell us about your father's friendship with Frank Sinatra.
It's been now 77 years. We started in 1944. Patsy's Italian restaurant. My grandfather's name was Pasquale, but they call him Patsy when he went through Ellis Island. So that's how people say, oh, I thought it was a woman. I said, no, it was my grandfather. He was the chef, my dad and myself. There's only 3 chefs all these years. But we're on our 4th generation. Our son Joseph is with us now. My wife is here as well. And it's been a great, wonderful ride. And Frank Sinatra was introduced to my grandfather, believe it or not, before he had Patsy's. He had another restaurant called the Sorrento in 1942. And my grandfather was known in the industry as a good, waiter and server and host. And so everyone would follow him whatever restaurant he went to. And one of the people that followed him was Tommy Dorsey. Tommy Dorsey brings in Frank Sinatra to my grandfather. He says, hey, Patsy, I got this skinny kid from Hoboken. I want you to fatten him up for me. And that's how the friendship started. So, and it's been wonderful. I have to tell you, thank God we do great food. We got a family business here, great workers, great service. But having Frank Sinatra as your PR person, nothing better than that.
Yeah. So what do you think draws people, not only celebrities, but the average person, the tourist, someone visiting New York City, to your restaurant? What is it about it?
I have to tell you, it's always been about word of mouth. It's always been about if your friend tells you it's good. You could do all the advertising you want, all the marketing you want. If a friend tells you got to go there, it's important. But I think the single reason that we're successful for over 77 years is that we're the same restaurant that we always been. Southern Italian, Neapolitan red sauce restaurant. We don't try and be like a Tuscan trattoria one day or a Sicilian restaurant. We stick to our basic red sauce recipes. And these are the things you grew up, the spaghetti and meatballs, the parmesans, veal rollatini, linguine with clam sauce. And it's been a wonderful thing because of the loyalty of our customers. We have 4 generations of family here, but we have even 4 or 5 generations of customers.
Yeah, so the family environment, the hospitality. Tell us about that night when Frank Sinatra came in. He wanted you here on Thanksgiving, and you guys were closed.
This was before I was born. It was in the early 50s, and Frank Sinatra was down and out. People don't realize that. He had lost his contract. He broke up. He lost his contract with the record company. He broke up with Ava Gardner, and people didn't want to know who he was. And
Lost the Rolling on the Waterfront.
Well, yeah, that's another one. But then
to Mumbles, as he called him.
But then he got the other one, which was the big comeback, of course. But what was crazy is that all the people that he'd be having lunch here, and he'd be eating by himself at Patsy's Italian restaurant, and he'd say to my grandfather, Patsy, come sit with me. I don't eat by myself. And my grandfather would sit with him. And he'd point to the other customers around and say, see, all these people, they used to want to buy me a drink, they used to want to pay for my dinner. Now they don't care about me. My grandfather always assured him, don't worry, you're going to come back, Frank. You'll make a comeback. And on his way out the door, he says, Patsy, I want to come in tomorrow. Book me a table for 1. My grandfather didn't have the heart to tell him it was Thanksgiving. The next day we were closed. So my grandfather asked some of the wait staff to come in with their families. And sure enough, Frank came in the next day. And he sat there and he's looking around. He's saying, oh my God, he says, it's really not too busy today. My grandfather said, well, it's Thanksgiving. What are you going to do? And then he realized later in life that my grandfather opened just for him, and he never forgot it, which was great. Very important as part of the story of the relationship.
Now you have an homage to Frank here. I mean, the room, right there, there's a lot of... You walk around this restaurant, and everywhere you look, in every corner, there's something Sinatra.
Yes, well,
right?
I mean, he was such a big part of it, still is such a great influence in so many ways. And we have a statue on the bar, we have a statue up here of him, Sammy and Dean, of course, the core of the Rat Pack. And for our 75th anniversary a few years ago, we dedicated the room that he used to have as private room for dinner and called it the Frank Sinatra room. It was, with the family's blessing, and I had Tony Danza and Dean Martin's daughter dedicate the room for us.
That's amazing.
It's really a nice thing.
So tell me about your book. You have a book published of Patsy's?
Yes. I have 2 cookbooks. One came out in 2002, a Patsy's Italian Restaurant Cookbook, and Nancy Sinatra, Frank's daughter, wrote the foreword. Besides the great recipes, there's a lot of great Frank stories in it, including the one we talked about today. And it's got wonderful recipes, great history, and I did this mainly to record the history of the restaurant. And then in 2015, the first one was such a success, we did a second book. It's called Patsy's Italian Family Cookbook, and it has recipes from here, stories, and some of my family's recipes from home. Because this is really what this is about. This is a family restaurant. It's great that, other restaurants, they're big corporations, but here you're treated like a member of the family. I know that sounds kind of corny nowadays, but it makes a difference.
Yeah. That's incredible.
And then for our 50th anniversary, we came out with Patsy's pasta sauce, which we sell in supermarkets and on our website all over. It's been a wonderful, wonderful way to attract new customers. People have the sauce in the supermarket. They bring it home, they have it, and they say, oh my goodness, if they can do this in a jar, I've got to try the restaurant. And you think about that in terms of how do people find you? Besides, of course, the number one way is word of mouth. That's another way. And a cookbook. They buy the cookbook. They've never been here. They come here. So it's great to have that kind of flexibility and availability of people finding out about you.
Now, was it like reopening after the pandemic? You opened a location in New Jersey,
Yes.
correct? And then getting back on your feet again and opening up. And this area was vibrant, and it's just starting to come back. It's almost like the last neighborhood to come back because it relies on tourists.
Exactly. Midtown is relying on the tourists and the theater, because we're very near Broadway. We're on 56th Street, in the heart of the theater district here. And it's been slow, but thank God it's coming back. And again, the loyalty of our customers, it warms my heart. What we did was from February to May, we had a pop-up restaurant in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and it was a great success. And I can't tell you how good that felt, just psychologically, to have a full restaurant, people coming back and wanting to be with you. And I can't tell you how many people drove from New York to have dinner with us down there.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's part of, trying to be innovative, trying to think outside the box, rolling up your sleeves and saying, what else can we do, instead of just saying, woe is me, woe is me. We did something about it. So knock on wood, it's coming back.
Absolutely. Now, we talked about Sinatra. How about some other celebrities that would come here on a regular basis that you're connected to, or just love coming here because of the hospitality and the food?
So one of my favorites was Rosemary Clooney, and mostly known now as George Clooney's aunt, but she was in White Christmas, so many things. She's what a wonderful woman. I used to call her Mrs. Clooney. She'd say, no, call me Aunt Rosemary. She's so close with us. Liza Minnelli, she was first brought here by her parents, with, of course, Judy Garland and Vincent Minnelli. Tony Danza I became friendly with. He had his show for a few years. I was on the show cooking with him. And I've been very lucky. I've been on a million different shows. Martha Stewart, Today's Show. Tony Danza was the only person I couldn't show how to cook. He knows how to cook. So,
I bet.
So it was a lot
Brooklyn
of fun.
Guy.
Oh, yeah, Brooklyn guy, and knows his way around a kitchen. And there's just so many. And again, the homage to the singers, like Michael Bublé started coming in. He said, wow, it's good enough for Frank, it's good enough for me. Another one that you might not associate directly with Sinatra was Sean Combs, P. Diddy. He loves Sinatra. And if you look at some of his commercials, he has the hat, and he does the commercials. He's very Sinatra-esque. And
Bono too, U2.
Bono from U2 was here, and it was after Frank passed. And he said the late great Frank Sinatra used to always tell me when I'm in New York I have to come to this place. And the box of Sugar Ray Leonard. He said, and this is real Frank Sinatra speak. He said Frank Sinatra said this is a good joint here. It's
Good
a good joint.
Good joint.
That could be misinterpreted nowadays. It's different things, but.
And now you have Michael Quinn. Here you go.
Even better. Now,
And my daughter too.
Now we're doing even better. Even better. But it's been a wonderful thing, and the loyalty, and it warms my heart. It really does.
Learn more by visiting Weenermag.com.